Morning, everybody. It is Monday. It is the 13th, Monday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no, there isn't a Monday the 13th
No,
problem.
man.
That's a Friday the 13th problem. You have no problems today at all. We're all here. We're ready to take care of you, look after you through the course of the day. Today, we've got, I don't know, I hope everybody's back in the rhythm now. Like last week was lame, man.
Yeah, last week people were still off, but it was nice to
I was like,
get things ready before everyone else.
Yeah, but I was like, why did I bother coming to work when everybody else is still fucking around?
I think you do this every year.
I do, huh?
Yeah.
I get excited and then I want to be back, and nobody else wants to be back. It's just me.
Yeah, you're like all fired up on the Monday. You're like, oh no, got to get working, got to do things.
So embarrassing. Anyway,
Yeah,
we're here and we are ready to go this morning. Leigh-Ann Mol and I and our producers, James and Flex, who are busy. I don't know what they're doing in there. Good morning from Bloemfontein, says Shani. Bloemfontein. What? Listen, I love the rain. I don't want to sound ungrateful.
And you're going to say, and we shouldn't be talking about the weather.
I know, and we normally don't. But it's like
it's a lot.
It's like I live in a tropical jungle at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, everything is out of control.
Everything's soaky. Like I sat on my outside furniture, and when I got up, I thought, did I piss myself? But it was cold.
That you have to ask yourself if you.
Yeah, no. Look, I don't know sometimes.
Oh, that's horrible. We have some interesting stuff for you this morning. We're going to be speaking to someone royal in a little while.
Ooh.
Yeah, just after 7 o'clock, we're going to speak to Bhelekazi Mabandla, who is the head of diplomatic services for the Jamangile Mabandla Royal Family. You know,
well pronounced.
we have these royal families in South Africa, and people don't know anything about them. Most of them don't know anything about them, and we're going to find out from her how it all works. So I think that'll be interesting. Get some sport with James a little bit later on. We don't have Hanan back yet, so all you lunatics and mental health cases,
stay at home.
Yeah, just you people who've got you're fucked in the head. Just stay at home until Dr. Hanan's back. All right, take an extra week, lie there. Be depressed, be anxious.
All of the things.
Just do those things, and then you'll be all right in a week's time.
It'll be safe in a week.
For 1 week, just be depressed.
Yeah.
What can I say? I see lots of people up and about in the comments section this morning too. Leigh-Ann, does that diet actually work? I see you hiding it there.
What does it mean?
That is from Max Sony, who says, does that diet go?
Does it quench one's thirst? Yes. I personally have it because I don't drink coffee.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a bit of a caffeine. I have the zero sugar.
Well, then
but it's still got caffeine in it. Just for a little, I mean, what's the time for crying out loud?
Listen, I didn't know. Because, I mean, we talk about coffee because it's a morning show. We're on in the morning, and we've spoken about coffee for years. We always used to tease, like, CS about how particular he was about his coffee. And, there are people around here who they know a lot about coffee. They know how to make it properly.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a machine here, like the barista machine, with the thing that you attach the little handle with the thing with the filter, blah,
the noisy
blah, blah.
Thing.
And it goes, and then, you make the frothy milk.
I can tell you know a lot about
I don't know a lot about this. So luckily we've got someone called KB who showed me once how to do it. But people take coffee so seriously. It's a
whole thing. I mean,
it's like wine people, if you go to dinner and you happen to be with someone who's obsessed with wine and they know everything about it, it's very interesting, maybe for like 2-3 minutes. After that, you're like,
But with coffee, it kind of takes over the whole day. It's not only about the mornings.
Yeah, and I think people are obsessed with it because it's one of the things you can do while you're at work.
Yeah, the legal things you can do.
Yeah.
No, in our office it's huge, and I'm also again the only person who doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah,
they go for walks to like a specific coffee place, and and I'm like, how much time are you wasting? There's a lot of time wasted over coffee.
People take it super seriously, but then it's the same with the do you waste more time on the coffee, or the smokers wasting more time?
There we go. That's why I can't say anything.
Yeah. Anyway, would you rather have a coffee or a tequila first thing in the morning? Says Mason. I got to tell you, like, I don't actually like drinking unless it's a social thing. I've never wanted to just drink. when it's just me. And I know that that's odd because for a lot of people, drinking is I don't know if you saw that thing. There was that report that came out that we spent an inordinate amount of money on alcohol in this country during the period from, I think it was from Christmas to New Year, or just a day after New Year or whatever. And they did a calculation, and it turns out like if every adult South African drank, we would have each spent 200 Rand or 300 Rand. But obviously not all South African adults drink. So that means that the ones who were drinking are really, they're carrying the rest of us, you know?
Yeah.
They're spending a lot. And we as a country spent an absolute fortune on alcohol over the holidays. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine if it's a social thing.
It really is, though.
Well, I do know that there are people. I mean, if I think about it, my grandfather's generation, they'd get home from work.
Yes.
And they'd have a whiskey, you know?
Yeah.
That was what they did. I don't know that that's what people do anymore. But I do know like these housefraus who are like polish off a bottle of Chardonnay just because they hate their husbands. Or whatever. And I wonder how many people are doing that in the morning.
Oh gosh.
You know?
No. If you start drinking wine, I mean, I've done that. You start drinking wine in the morning, you're not going to be functional for the rest of the day. 24th
December to 2 January. Reportedly, we spent 7.7 billion with a B Rand on alcohol. That's a lot of money.
At least it's legitimate spending. It's not like when the government says we spent 7.7 billion on this and you don't know if they really did.
Yeah, well, we did, and then we ended up with a hangover.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean,
we've got hangovers for proof.
Receipts. Hangovers proof, but of course it's not improving your life long term.
No.
You know? We also discussed this the other day about how the American Surgeon General now says that, you know, alcohol is the third biggest preventable cause of cancer. I'm like, well, don't tell people that, because actually you've been saying to them you must have a glass of red wine every day. That was the same
thing as smoking. Doctors would smoke.
I mean, something's gonna get you. So rather just do what you want. And to answer your question short and sharply, I'm not even a big coffee guy. I don't think I could drink even when I was on holiday in my 20s. I don't think I could drink first thing in the morning. So I'll have, this is like rooibos tea or something boring.
No, if I have a mimosa or something, if we've gone away for the weekend, we have a brunch or something.
A mimosa.
then I want to sleep straight away.
Dors that mimosa.
Dors that Coke. Work.
All right, back to school, back to reality, says Congo Chris. So is it back to school today?
This week. I don't think it's a Monday, not usually a Monday.
Yeah.
But you can, last week, Monday and Tuesday, the traffic was wonderful. And each day it's just got worse.
Coffee must be banned. Life is too short to be drinking Jacobs or some shit. Shit coffee.
Shit coffee, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with that. Like, if you're going to, someone said to me once, and I really took it very seriously, it's like, if you're going to do something regularly, if it's going to be a thing that you do, then for God's sake, do it properly. Like, if you do drink coffee, even if it's 1 cup a day, then make sure it's good.
Yeah, I feel that way about tea because I do drink tea, but I'll have tea maybe twice a week. But it needs to be a good herbal tea, brewed at the right temperature. It needs to be loose leaf.
Herbal tea, is that for the pooing?
Yes, Gareth, it's to keep my stools loose.
I thought so. Yeah. Without Dr. Hanan here, I've got to read between the lines. Literally read the tea leaves with you. All right. They want to increase a tax on alcohol again. They do it every year.
Yeah, no surprise.
I actually think we should all just stop drinking to spite the government because, I mean, the kind of money they make out of that 7.7, whatever, what was the amount? 7.7 billion Rand. You know, they're getting a huge amount of that, which they don't deserve. I mean, they don't deserve any of it, frankly. I saw that they're proposing some new deeds registries act or something. You know, this government really think like the people of this country are going to follow their dumb rules. NIH, all of these things that they're trying to do everything. NHI, National Health Insurance. They're trying to do all of this stuff. It's like, fine, guys, you can make as many rules as you want, but you're going to need people to enforce those rules. And
it's like e-tolls.
I don't see South Africans complying. I mean, people like you complied with the e-toll stuff.
Yes, you'll never forget that.
I will never forgive you for it. It's not just forget. Like you
know that I owe them 7 cents and they still send me an invoice every month.
See, how many times must you be abused by these people before you'll realize they're not your friends?
I mean, where do you even pay these things
You
now?
mustn't pay. You should never have in the first place. You used to pay. Poor Leigh-Ann. Don't fall for it. Be a rebel. When the government say you must do something, refuse. Like, I don't know why people listen to them. They're not serious. They don't know how to do things properly. Civil disobedience is like, it's built into us as South Africans. We should not be listening to any of these assholes in government, from any party. Don't listen to any one minister. Don't listen to the president. Ignore their rules. Do whatever you want. This is the Wild West. Welcome. It's a great year to start disobeying the government.
I think if you stick to the 10 commandments, we might be okay. There has to be some bit of order.
I mean, you know my rule, like, just don't hurt people, right? So, and that means you can hurt them mentally, you can hurt them spiritually, you can hurt them emotionally, you can hurt them
driving
physically.
too fast or driving drunk.
Yeah. So don't hurt people. If something you're going to do is going to result in you hurting someone else, then rather don't do it. And if you follow that rule, everything else seems to make sense. I mean, they're gonna tax you on alcohol, which is one thing you get that will make your day a bit better after like a heavy week at work, you know?
You remember they were hit badly during COVID because people weren't buying cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah. Right. So we must just remember that. Smoking is a known therapeutic for flatulence. Just saying, it could be beneficial. I was in a dorpie the other day, says Vidzako, and I asked them what they do for fun. Yep, he said drinking.
Yeah.
That's it. True alcoholics have a 5-liter box of wine next to the bed.
Next to the bed.
That's terrible. I pay $70 for a clip drift here in Australia. It's still worth it, though. Oof. Do the calculation for me because I'm bad at this. What is a $70?
It's a few $100. Or is it even over? I don't know. I mean, I can actually work it out for you.
Well, that's kind of what I was angling at. You know?
There we go, James.
1,300 rand for a bottle of Clippies. That's bad.
And how long does that last? 3 nights, maybe?
Well, I'm just looking here. I mean, I think probably, Ricky, I'm thinking probably about 15 minutes. Is that unkind? The government introduced a new dress law that requires the recording of race. Address. That's the one I'm talking about. It's the Deeds Registries Act, Amendment Act, or whatever. And it wants you to. You see, what they're trying to do is because they can't deliver to anybody who they've promised they'd deliver to. This government are forced to go for low-hanging fruit. So they just keep promising shit that they know they can't deliver. There's nothing left in the cupboard.
Which is why they will change a street name.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's so pathetic.
Stop e-tolls.
Does Leigh-Ann still pay a TV license? People want to know.
I'm currently in their bad books.
You rebel, you.
I know.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm scared.
Done.
I'm scared of saying it. I'm scared they're watching.
No, don't be afraid. Gareth, did you know that Leigh-Ann has already started voluntarily paying for the NHI? She puts it in a tax return, do you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, of course. Without anybody...
Well, I mean, I didn't earn money for a while. So.
Listen, I always say if you're a communist or a socialist and you believe that we should be taxed more, there are lots of people who go, well, I don't think we're taxed enough, and I think I would be happy with... Then just go to the government.
Who are those people?
There are people like that.
Really?
Yeah, you hear about them in the news often, like these billionaires who feel bad about being billionaires, right? And they go,
well, then they must just
I
make
would voluntarily...
donations.
Well, Bill Gates said this once. He's like, I would voluntarily pay more tax. And I'm like, well, go and drop off money at the government. Just go to whichever revenue office you prefer and just say to them, here, bonus. You can have all of this money and do it in Krugerrands if you really got the money and you want to, or in 1 cent coins if you want to fuck with them a bit. But give them your money. I don't have to, and I don't want to.
People do, though. I read recently, it was the Oppenheimers, I think, who were the biggest contributors to political parties.
Yeah.
And interestingly, in KZN, they gave money to both the DA and then what is the ruling party second biggest party in KZN.
Well, MK is the biggest
No,
party.
not
in KZN.
MK. So with a P? IFP.
Oh.
So they gave it to the DA and IFP. And I couldn't quite understand that.
Yeah, it's called hedging your bets.
Right.
So what you do if you're a rich person who wants to influence politics, and for some reason a lot of them do, they give to both parties so that they're in the good graces of both parties when it comes to, I mean, maybe they're just doing it out of like, I've got abundance. Let me just help everybody. You guys look like you need some money. Who knows? I don't know. It lasts me like 6 months, says Ricky, that bottle. Wow.
That's
okay.
a long time.
I only drink like once a month. All right. Well, all right. Sorry. We've forgotten that you moved to Australia. Okay. All right, then just drink wine, says some people. You're doing US dollars and not Australian dollars, says Bitcoin, but that's different. Now, let us turn our attention to tortoises having sex.
Yeah. Well, just
this is way more useful to people
it's
than
a natural segue.
Okay. I was going to say, from clip drift in Australia to tortoises having sex, you can see the link. I mean, I don't have to spell it out for you.
Have you seen tortoises having sex?
Well, I have, because I remember we were comparing animal noises. We did a quiz once where I would play an animal noise and you'd have to guess what it was. And then we played the tortoise noise and none of you believed it. So I had to find the video and show you the video. And it happened to be two tortoises mating, and they make a very strange noise.
I saw two live.
Really?
Yes, in public.
How long did you watch them for, you pervert?
Well, it took me a while to understand what they were doing. We went to that bird park in Monte Cassino.
Yes.
And at the entrance,
yes,
there were two tortoises having at it.
Ah.
And I didn't understand what they were doing. And the little girl said to her mom, "Mommy, what are they doing?"
Uh-oh.
And that's when I realized, because she went, "Nothing, my sweet." But they literally go, "Oh, oh, oh." So that's the kind of speed. Okay. That was the speed that was going on. We toured the entire bird park, saw all of the birds.
And they were still going.
We came out and he was going, "Oh, oh, oh."
Oh, sped up.
Sped up by a bit. I didn't wait around for them to finish. But my goodness, it takes a long time. Because, in nature, you watch lions, for instance, or big cats, it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Even bulls or horses.
They really don't make a full go of it.
Oh, these
tortoises, they make it last.
They're in it for the win.
Okay, so do we have any videos of this? Because people are gonna want to look it up, and why do we make them do the work? Have we got that? All right, let's take a look.
I have an abundance of food because I need him to give her a break. Because I gotta switch him out. So we'll put down a bunch of food. To see if that's gonna draw him. Hey, buddy. Hey. You need to give me a break, dude. Come eat the food. I've got another girl for you. Just come eat the food. I have another girl for you. Yes, the one is done. It's time for Marianne. Yes, come on. You gotta let go. Come on, just let her go. There you go. You're thinking about it. You're looking at that food right there, aren't you? That's so yummy looking. You want it. You want that food, dude. Come on. You want it. Just come and get the food.
13 hours those two were going. He wouldn't even break for food. That poor girl tortoise.
She was exhausted. You see, she was like hiding her head back in her shell. It's amazing. So they go for 13 hours, no toilet breaks,
Nothing.
No food breaks. I mean, that's stamina. You talk about stamina. That's pretty damned impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they're porn stars who wish they had that stamina.
Absolutely.
Imagine how much money they could make.
Yeah, I mean, they could really make very long pornos that no one would watch.
No, because no one can last that.
That was like we were just watching was like tortoise porn, right?
Sure.
Unbelievable. Pump over food like a real man, says Bitcoin Bot.
I sent that to James and I said, please feel free to edit it down. Just include a bit of the pumping.
Yeah, but I mean, the tortoise was
Official
drooling. He was
instructions.
drooling as well. You saw that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, what a mess.
Sounds like the start of one of Gwede speeches.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's very, very bad. Dry humping sounds, says Raven. Leigh-Ann, you're on the money, says Maxoni.
Mm.
Tabo says female tortoises must hate sex.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how tired.
Unless they get there faster and they can do that multiple times during the 13 hours.
13 hours.
It's still a lot for anyone.
Tell you what, whew, it's very, very, it's just that's absolutely incredible. And, you know, when you talk about animal noises, this is the one that people always forget to include.
That's it.
Like, come on, make the noise of a lion roaring and rawr. And then you say to them, well, and now a tortoise fucking.
Yeah.
And you get blank stares all over the room. Shame. And everything tortoises do seems to take a lot of time up. That's why they live for 200-300 years. You know those giant tortoises in,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Some island.
Easter Island or
Easter
something.
Island.
They've been there. That tortoise, I think
But
there's
those ones are
one-
as big as this table. They're
the
enormous.
Galapagos or something. They're the one tortoise lived for 250 years or something.
Mm.
Well, that makes sense. That's why, you know, he's got 13 hours to have sex.
Yeah. But don't be fooled about the slow walking thing. I had a tortoise when I lived in Kalk Bay.
Yeah.
And that thing was fast.
Really?
Like it would catch my eyes through the window at that speed.
Maybe they manipulate time.
Maybe they do.
That's what they've got in that shell. There's a whole mechanism to manipulate time. Unbelievable. Maybe wrong, but I think only humans and a few other mammals actually enjoy sex, says Patrick.
I think it's dolphins.
Dolphins and us. What else?
I think
Well,
it's just
so it
dolphins
seems like
and us.
tortoises by the looks of things. Why would you keep going?
Did that
for
look
13
like enjoyment?
13 hours.
That
If you,
looked laborious.
so it's like work.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, that looked like painful.
It's the first being I've seen that takes their house with them to go and pump. It's a good point. There's no such thing as a quickie in tortoise land. No, I don't think so, hey? Someone's going to figure out how to make muti from the long-lasting sex thing from tortoises. I was right.
Oh, gosh.
You know, people are going to be like, well, if tortoises can do it, there must be something they have that we need.
Mm,
And you know what happens then?
mm-hmm.
It's not going to go well for tortoises. All right, so there's lots of talk. I cannot get over these fires in Los Angeles. It is devastating.
No, the scale's unreal.
I messaged two people that I know who live in California, and one of them, their house hasn't been touched, which is great. They're safe, but they all know so many people, and you've seen all the celebrities,
Yeah.
right?
Let's think. There was Tom Hanks's house.
Yeah.
There was Kim Kardashian's, Paris Hilton's.
Geez, Paris Hilton posted this thing.
Yes.
Someone forwarded it to me of her like walking through her house, and there's nothing. I mean, it looks like a war zone. And that's not saying, you know, people go, oh, it looks like a war zone. This really is just, it's
like an
unbelievable
apocalypse.
devastation. Isabella Rossellini, her brother, Roberto Rossellini, went back to check on his house after the fires, burnt down completely. And there's this picture that she got from him of this Oscar statuette that is just like the base is all melted and everything, but you can see it lying in the rubble. I mean,
and of course, there is the thought of there are celebrities that have a lot of money. This is their second or third or fourth house. They've got many other houses. But if you think about it and have a little bit of empathy, watching Paris Hilton, she lives there with her. She's made memories there with her children.
That's what she said. She said
it's her children's home.
There was art on the fridge that their kids had done just that week before or whatever. You know, that's shitty for anybody. And not having sympathy for someone just because they have more than you is just as bad as not having sympathy for someone because they have less than you. It's just as bad. And I hate this idea that there are people who think that you only need to be nice to those who have less than you, because the ones who have more than you, they'll be all right. I mean, it comes from such a a simplified view of how the world works. Look at that drop of water from a helicopter. I saw the most incredible footage of these planes that people fly, and the plane glides along the surface of the sea, for example, or a lake, picks up water, how it doesn't stall and
flip over.
It picks up water and then it takes off virtually straight away and goes and drops the water then on the fire. And these helicopters picking up water from people's swimming pools.
Yes. Again, to bring up Kalk Bay, when the fires, I mean, nothing like this, but there was a very close call.
No, I remember
there were
some bad fires in the Cape. Yeah.
And watching the helicopters there they look so small, these little buckets, but you know how big they are going into
enormous.
The sea. And there as well, taking off and trying to not go too fast or slow and dropping it at just the right point.
What skill? Huh? There's this one video I watched. I can't help myself. I get sucked into something. And then before you know it, you're watching, hours and hours of footage. There was this one where this guy just made the most perfect water drop across the strip of fire that was burning.
The fire, yeah.
And he got it all. And I'm like, what a hero. These people are really working hard. And of course, everybody is now climbing onto the who do we blame bandwagon. And there are people can be blamed. The Pacific Palisades Reservoir was empty, has been for ages.
The mayor is in huge
The mayor she was in Ghana. I mean, we spoke about her the other day too. She just is completely incompetent, doesn't know what to do. Now she's pulling the whole "we must stand together" card. It's like, no, actually, you're a fucking disaster.
She was asked about 10 questions by reporters when she arrived, and she couldn't say anything.
Couldn't answer any of them.
She was just overwhelmed.
No, so get her out. She's no good. And the same for Governor Gavin Newsom, who's like, he's got the slick back hair and he's wearing the aviator glasses like a, bad guy from a movie. And he's just, this woman walked up to him. This is the most embarrassing thing that can happen. And he's on the phone, he's using his phone because then he's busy. Then he doesn't have to talk to her because he has nothing to say to these people. He's totally fucked up. He's on the phone and this woman's like, Governor, I want to talk to you. And he's like, excuse me, I'm just on the phone to President Biden.
Oh.
And she goes, okay, good. Put him on speaker. I want to talk to him. So he goes, no, we were just cut off. Like caught with your pants down. How embarrassing. I mean, these people are just, and they don't care. These are supposedly the ones who give a shit. They're two useless fucking people in one picture.
That's the mayor in the front.
The mayor, what's her name again? I don't know. Anyway, Karen Bass is her name. Karen Bass, and then he's Governor Gavin Newsom with a hat on. I mean, I wouldn't let these two put out the braai after everyone has eaten. That's how useless they are. Unbelievable. And I see also that they're looking to ban TikTok in the US.
Yes.
Is it going to happen? Is it going to really mean the end of all those influencers? What are they going to do? They're going to have to get real jobs? You
know what? It's actually not the influencers. TikTok is not about influencers. It's definitely still more Instagram.
Okay, so how does it work?
It really is a really good tool to keep track of modern society.
Okay, tell me more. I'm just while you're doing that.
Is that President Biden?
No, it's this woman it's this Chinese woman who sings songs, right? So listen. I brought that up especially because I knew when you talk about TikTok, that's what happens in my head. I hear her going, ah, tong, ting, tong, tang. That's all I hear. So you can start again.
No, it's like watching, for me, it's like watching the news, but just to the power of 15, because you're not just getting one point of view. It's I don't know, it's a big tool for me in keeping up. There's some things that I wouldn't have known that happened that you get first on TikTok.
Well, this week, the Supreme Court heard arguments for and against the banning of the app, which has come under fire in recent months due to the Chinese parent company ByteDance possibly influencing Americans and collecting data that should be used or could be used against them. During the legal arguments, Chief Justice John Roberts noted that free expression does not apply in this case, since the app could be used for coercion. He stated Congress advocates for free expression, but is not fine with a foreign adversary like China, for example, gathering information about 170 million people in America who use TikTok. Ban is set to take place on January the 19th. So it's going to happen. What does that mean, though, for people who make a living out of it? That's what I want to know.
Yes, and there are a lot of people who rely on that. There are people who would never have had an opportunity to get out of the situations that they're in, whether it's medical assistance for their children, even silly things like having a boob op. There are people who were absolutely unemployed before, who make a living off of TikTok.
Well, they'll have to find a real job.
I mean,
It's like all the people in government who don't do anything and should be fired. They should actually be in a real job. They should be doing something which contributes to society.
Well, these people are contributing to society.
They'll have to find something else.
One of the channels I watch, We Rate Dogs. They've always been around on the other platforms before TikTok, but because of TikTok, they've blown up. And it's one guy who does the voice, the face to camera. But they rate my top 10 dogs over the last week. And before the last dog, there's always a sponsor. And because of that sponsor, they then show you what they did with that money. They've cleared out shelters.
Oh, no, you're going to have to get your dogs rated somewhere else, Leigh-Ann.
They've cleared out shelters. They've paid for surgeries.
How are you going to manage without your top 10 dog list this week?
Shame, no. But
so they do good work as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. China is stupid with their Great Firewall. I used a cheap VPN and got around it. Yeah, I suppose people could do that too. I do worry that, just like America gathers intel on us, and we seem to be okay with that. I don't like any foreign government. I don't even like our government gathering info on us. The less information that you hand over to these people, the better for you. And we are going to enter a period at some point in the next 10 to 15 years, if not sooner, where the greatest asset you will have
privacy
is exactly that, keeping your stuff to yourself. And it'll be worth a fortune. Those will be the happiest people in the world. The ones who don't have
just off grid.
Yeah, they don't have a profile on any social media network. They're not sharing information with governments. They're just quietly going about their thing.
Sure, it's difficult though. I mean, for instance, I have an aunt with special needs, and she doesn't have a smartphone. I think she'd be phoning us from her landline every day, asking questions of how to work it. So she has just a normal, little Nokia or whatever. But the thing is, we can't track her, and it's not safe. She walks around. She does things. Sometimes we'll be fetching her, and we don't know where she is. And it got to the point where we said we might have to put a
chip in her.
No, a tracker. What are those?
The Apple
AirTag. Put an AirTag onto her phone so that we can find where she is. But
well, maybe that's a good idea.
Eventually,
have it implanted under a left tit or something and follow her around.
Oh gosh!
A shock collar, says Percy. You might want one of those. It's not a bad idea either.
When you get to a certain perimeter.
Yeah, it goes off. Sometimes I feel like my house burning down could be freeing. Of course, it would be terrible, says B. Part of me would be relieved to get rid of everything without having to decide to.
Oh no, just move. Just move
I tell
house.
You something? That is absolutely the most ridiculous and stupid thing. And I'm gonna embarrass you about this. This is you being lazy. Sort your shit out. I mean, really. You would rather have
try moving. That's a good practice session.
But I know you're being slightly ironic here, but that's just unbelievable that some part of you goes, oh well, I'd just rather it all burns down. No, come on, just tidy your shit up. What's wrong with you? It'll take you like a couple of days. You know how therapeutic that'll be. You'll feel so much better. Don't be like that, B. Am I right, Bitcoin boys? Congo Chris says, Gareth, it's not the government you should worry about. AI can replicate you fairly convincingly. All we would need to do is feed some of these shows into it. I can't wait. I can't wait for AI to take over this show. Are you kidding? You know what I'd be doing right now? Sleeping.
Having a fat sleep.
Yeah, I would be chilling. Stone cold chilling. I got some things to do, man. The Real Network eThekwini has located 95 million rands for smart policing this year. I don't know if they can build a surveillance state, but they're trying. Yeah, slippery pickle. Don't panic about that. eThekwini. Please. Durban is such a disaster at the moment. I was talking to someone who lives there the other day, and they were saying to me, it is just a mess. It's like
it's had everything thrown at it, though.
Everything. We've had riots, we've had floods, we've had all sorts of stuff. But honestly, the place is a disaster. Now, if they can't get the city working, you don't have to worry about like smart policing. Right now, I'd take dumb policing, frankly, if I were in Durban. Yeah, any dumb policing. Apparently, Mel Gibson's response is he said he was happy to be freed from all of his stuff. That's why B said that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, there are all these conspiracy theorists too who are saying, oh, well, this is the P. Diddy party information being a hell of a lot of destruction just to destroy a little bit of evidence. I mean, you could have made a fire on half of this desk.
One warehouse. Small warehouse or storage
not even
unit.
A small warehouse. I'm telling you, there's not that much evidence. Most of it's probably digital. So you just burn a couple of hard drives if they can find them. To burn down the whole of Malibu, Pacific Palisades, Eaton. I mean, there's some big neighborhoods. Apparently, it's heading towards Brentwood now too, which is where a lot of people have their houses. It's really bad. Do you guys know that most government schools don't have funding for stationery?
Yes, parents have to buy the state, but that was like that for us at school. We had to buy our own stationery.
Yeah, I don't remember the government buying us anything.
No, we got a list. We had to buy books, everything,
and it was expensive stuff. Yeah, crayons.
I used to use that to balance for my balance sheet in accounting.
Crayons.
That I got a G for.
No, we had to buy all our own stuff.
Yeah, staplers.
I loved that because you know how I am about stationery, right? It's like one of my favorite things to buy.
I was in Mr. Price Home buying towels and boring things yesterday.
But that's so nice too.
But they had a
stationery. You don't like buying towels and things?
Well, I suppose, but they weren't
nice fluffy
for me.
towels.
But yes, there was I didn't get these from Mr. Price Home. I got them from Volpe's. Also, beautiful store.
Who were they for if they weren't for you?
For my mum.
Okay.
As we're moving her.
Right. Okay.
Etc.
Got you.
We again just chucked out a whole lot of stuff and we're just starting fresh, which is really nice. It is fun. But no, in Mr. Price Home, I could hear harps. The stationery section.
They have stationery in Mr. Price Home?
Yeah, they've got like stuff to set up your desk
Can't
at
people
home
stick
with
to their lane?
and
Guys,
calendars.
Hang on a second. Mr. Price Home. How about home stuff?
It is for your home office or your home. Your
but
study.
Stationery, they should stay in their lane. I don't want them doing stationery. What do they have that other shops don't? So like this is where McDonald's.
Okay, I'm going to
McDonald's should just make a Big Mac and they shouldn't give people any options.
I'm going to challenge you then to go to a Mr. Price, but a big one, like Mr. Price Home.
All right.
And look at the stationery section.
I have to do it.
Wall organizers.
I will warn you, though. I will warn you. Nina Hasty was on the show last Wednesday, and she told me I have to watch Wicked because everybody's talking about Wicked, and I won't.
No, I'm not going.
Don't tell her, but I'm not going to watch it. I'm
Really
never going to watch. I hate musicals. I hate them. I'm not going to watch it. So I'll maybe take on yours. It's a little bit more interesting.
I'll go and I'll go
so what
again
do they have
and send
there?
you pictures. I was in a bit of a rush, okay, because I had my mom and carers and everything and a list of things to do. But so I ran past it in slow motion because that's how I ran, in slow motion.
And?
Just like stuff that you put on your walls that organizes shit.
Oh, wow.
And like filing sections and desk organizers. And
I like that. That's
nice.
You like that stuff too, right?
Love stationery.
It's my favorite thing. So why are Americans still building their houses out of wood like the One Little Pig? That is a good question. But Americans, and I mean, you can even see there's a video where you can see one of the houses in Malibu is built out of concrete. Obviously, it's right on the beach, so they have to build retaining walls and all kinds of other things, and sink these deep pylons into the ground to build the house on. The concrete houses are fine; they didn't burn down, and a lot of these houses are made of like dry, what do they call it? Dry walling.
Yeah, they go
timber.
down like easily.
It's really, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mr. Price sells stationary, not stationary. Couches should not move. Smart. Viva Walton, says Percy. We have what's called no-fee schools. Kids don't even pay to attend. Everything is free. Plus, they get food once a day, shit changed. Books are provided to write copy. Yeah, you see.
Where is that?
No, this is South Africa. Supposedly, the idea is that kids will go to. Really, I mean, let's level with everybody on this. What the Department of Education are supposed to do is educate your children. What they actually do is they take them off the parents' hands for half the day. They feed them. They give them stationery.
Teach
They
them discipline.
supposedly teach them. Well, they don't, but they try. And they become a proxy parent because we've got such stupid and useless parents in this country. And the only hope some of these kids have of becoming well-adjusted, getting a meal a day, actually not starving to death, having some adult in the world somewhere care for them, because God knows it's not their parents. The only hope they've got is the Department of Basic Education, which is our most expensive government department. And it's appalling. It's appalling to me that the school has to stand in and do all of this stuff because the school didn't make your child. You did. And as the parent, you should be embarrassed and humiliated and degraded, frankly, by the fact that the government, i.e. the taxpayer, has to shoulder the burden of your fucking child. Just saying.
Yeah.
So you are right, Lito, but it's very bad. Los Angeles is the category of very high risk for earthquakes, hence wooden houses. Well, that's another thing, right? Is humans build houses where nature just doesn't.
Shit happens.
But nature just doesn't want us to. I remember there was this island called Montserrat I think it's in the Atlantic. It's somewhere in the Caribbean even.
There's a font called Montserrat.
Yeah, this island. It's an active volcano. An active volcano. People are building their houses down there going, this is a nice place for a house. Don't worry about that volcano. No, actually, you should worry about that volcano. And if you're building your house in an area where, I mean, there's no water for a start, you shouldn't be building your house there. Humans can't just live wherever they want. You know, often people talk about the state of the area around the airport in Cape Town, for example.
Yes.
And the housing and the shacks and all of that stuff. You know, the water table is like this far under the ground.
Yes.
And it's sand. You can't bury pipes there. You can't put foundations into the ground. Nothing. That's why they have all those portable loos that are built everywhere. Built in, but like on shifting sands, literally. And people shouldn't be living there. There shouldn't be shacks there. There shouldn't be dwellings at all. It's not land that people could live in. And people do. They come there and they live there. Like millions of people. So everybody goes, oh, well, it's the Western Cape government's fault. People should not be living in those conditions or on that land. The Cape Flats is not a hospitable area for humans. It's just not. The schooling system is to instill punch clock factory routines and create good factory workers. That's why you have bells, lunch breaks, and you get punished for arriving late. That is not untrue. But in this country, we also do a lot of other things that really should be the parents. Add all the foreign nationals' kids to the mix and becomes a shit show. We don't deny anyone the right to education, even if you're illegal, which is crazy. The whole foreshore in Cape Town plus the waterfront is in danger up to the castle, as the ocean once went up to the castle. Nature may just take the land back. Well, I mean, you get one really bad storm, and that can easily happen, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get into some sport quickly. After the fun of like nailing the education system and tortoise sex, it's only appropriate that we bring in a little bit of sport. And James has got his laptop and he's at the ready. And he's going to tell us what happened. What happened to Accrington Stanley over the weekend?
Accrington Stanley lost 4-0 this week.
Because that's what I was more interested in than anything else.
I thought you were making that up.
No, it's an actual. So did I when Ben brought it up on Friday. I'm like, Accrington Stanley. And it is. It's an actual team.
They are. And they did lose 4-0 to my team. So
shame.
You hate to see it. It was expected, right?
Liverpool.
The goats, they're still doing what they need to do.
Yeah,
Top
well, I
of
mean,
all
when
the
you're up
logs.
against Accrington Stanley, let's not take
You
too
know,
much credit.
You know
please.
how easy does it get?
Exactly.
Man City, they also played the FA Cup this weekend against Salford City. Interesting game there. They won 8-0. The interesting story behind that game is the team of guys that own Salford City. They used to play for Manchester United, so there's like some deep-rooted blood in that storyline there. Man City won 8-0. Arsenal, they lost to Man United, so Ben's woken up a little bit sad this morning.
I'm sure he'll be just devastated. He'll
It's
move
not
on
the one.
quickly. Don't
It's
worry.
not the one. I did speak to him last night. He said his only hope lies in their women's team now, which
Sure.
I wish him all the luck for.
Okay.
Is all I'll say. They lost 5-3 to Man United on penalties. Chelsea, they beat Morecambe 5-0. And Villa beat West Ham 2-1 in the FA Cup. So next round of games in the FA Cup is set to take place in Feb. There was also CAF Champions League games this past weekend. Pirates won 2-1. And Sundowns, they also won 2-1 against Maniema Union.
You knew all about that. Yeah.
That name
I
could
could
have
tell
been
that you
rehearsed. That was on
watched
me.
that game.
Yeah. I was heavily invested in that result. There was also the Investing Champions Cup this weekend. La Rochelle, they played Leinster. Leinster, they ended up winning that game 16-14. The Bulls, they lost to Castres 10-49. The Sharks, they lost 8-20 to Toulouse. And the Stormers, they won 14-0 to the Sale Sharks. There was cricket this weekend, and I know we had the discussion last weekend about how hugely exciting the sport of cricket is, but it is getting exciting because they have.
I had this conversation with someone. I can't imagine watching a 5-day test.
No.
I mean, it would be
like
this. We
this.
spoke about this last Monday.
It was like this tortoise fucking. I mean, 13 hours of tortoises going.
For some people, it's. Love it, man.
There we go. It's a 5-day test. Lovely. All right. What else?
Okay, so in the world of tortoise banging this weekend, the SA20, Sunrisers Eastern Cape kicked it off against the Paarl Royals. Paarl Royals won by 9 wickets with 8 balls left. The Joburg Super Kings, they played MI Cape Town. Joburg Super Kings won by 6 runs. And then the Pretoria Capitals versus the Durban Super Giants was postponed due to all of this rain that we were having. And then MI Cape Town are set to play the Paarl Royals tonight at 5:30. And then one of the last things I wanted to mention is your chat about musicals just now has triggered producer Flex.
Why?
He has a deep burning hatred for musicals, and that's just
me too, dude. I'm so with you. There's nothing fucking worse.
I dated
Someone
someone.
says to you, let's go to the musical. And you're like,
I dated someone who would become highly embarrassed just by watching musicals.
so yeah, I used to, like, at school.
He would.
At school, I thought they were fun, because you're a kid at school. You're like, it's
Because they are kind of childish.
they're childish. That's the whole point. And then you grow up and you realize, like, this is really retarded. This is not entertainment for adults.
But you see, that's how I feel about things.
I'm going to conquer the world.
That's how I feel about things like Game
it's
of
always so
Thrones.
lame. It's like, I love you so much, and you love me too. I mean, I could write a musical now with AI, especially, right? I could write the most cheesy fucking musical ever, and people would go and see it, and they would pay money, and we could make a large amount of money out of, like, the kind of people who are into musicals.
It takes a complete change of mindset. So, for instance, I'm thinking of Phantom of the Opera, for instance, which is the most recent one that I watched. And it is a bit awkward in the beginning. It feels like, you look at each other and feel a bit strange.
Yeah, because people
then you get into
people are talking, and now they make them into movies. People are talking, and then suddenly one of them bursts into song. And you're like, what the hell is this?
But what about, like, the masterpieces of, like, Grease, for example? Like, what about those that have become, like, iconic movies for them being musicals?
Okay, so they're almost like little artifacts.
Right.
They're like, gives you a window into, like, a piece of culture from a certain era. And you mentioned, like, Phantom of the Opera, and Andrew Lloyd Webber is a hugely talented human being. And Tim Rice, who does the lyrics for those things, very, very talented guy. And I can understand how it's entertaining for people. It's just not entertaining for Flex and I. Okay, so if you invite certain people to a musical, they're going to be like, oh, that's a great idea. I can't wait to go. Like the last one I went to was the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I went with like friends of mine who are into that. And I was like, okay, I'll just grin and bear it. But like as the music starts, you just go.
Did you clap like during?
Of
in
course,
time
you do what you
to
have
the
to do.
songs?
No, I didn't do any of that. No, but
So
I mean, you
awkward.
applaud the people for putting on the performance, right?
No, but did you?
Especially if they do a good job. No, I don't sing along and I don't clap my hands. No, but some people love it. I get that. And you said Grease, and I get it. They are very well put together,
Right.
and they're designed to entertain people. And some people cry and they laugh and it's the most awesome experience for them. And I get that. I once understood those things, and I grew up and I just don't get them anymore.
But it's
Now, the minute anyone says, let's go and see I can't even do that. Like a play is stupid to me.
plays, and then I also had a thing at one stage about grown men at football games singing songs
Also,
and crying.
yeah, look.
I was
You
like,
take that back.
Yeah, in case you think I'm
"Ooh,
like-
that's so cringe."
In case you think I'm piling onto musicals and shit, I feel the same way about sport. Like I see grown adult men crying about their team not winning, and I'm like, you've got to find something that gives you a little bit more than that in life. Otherwise, your life's going to be really shit.
And people who watch show jumping and from far in the crowd as the horse approaches and they go,
Oh, all right.
and the horse can't hear them. No one can. And everyone's going, like, that's so.
It's
I
embarrassing,
do have
right?
to disagree with both of you about sports specifically, obviously.
Shut up, James. Your time is up.
Oh,
Why are you still here?
it's a different kind of pain. I just have to say, when your team loses, and
Slippery
you
Pickle
cry.
says I could watch a Monty Python musical. Just saying that would have been good. Look, some of them are hilariously funny too, and I hear people telling me you have to get into it. Like you said, you have to almost switch off the
Change-
logical part of your
change
brain.
gears, Yeah.
Yeah, and you become like a theater kid and an annoying theater kid. And then I suppose you could enjoy it. I just can't anymore. And I feel the same way. I mean, Signet says Bollywood movies for the same reason. Fuckers always dancing behind a tree. It's childish.
Like you're walking in the street, then all of a sudden you break into
I mean,
coordinated dance.
So the worst movie, I never saw it, but the worst movie, I saw like a clip of it once, is when they turned Cats into a Hollywood movie.
The James.
Do you
Corden.
remember
with James.
That James Corden in
Horrific.
it.
Oh, I
and
never
they had
saw it, but
it-
yes.
It just looked like such absolute steaming
such
shit that
pain.
I know I would have hated every single second of it. And the same goes for this Wicked one that everybody's talking about now, which is the only reason we're talking about musicals. I'm not going to see it. I decided over the weekend, someone messaged me and they were like, are you going to do what Nina said and go and see Wicked? I'm like, it's never going to happen. Because I know I'll be sitting in that movie 2 minutes in and I'll go, oh, there's so many things I could do that are better than this. And then I'd get up and leave. So I would have wasted the price of the ticket. I walk out of movies all the time. Wasted the price of the ticket. I would have probably bought something that's bad for me, like popcorn. And I would. Who would I take to that? Who would I punish?
I don't
with that?
feel the need.
Who would I want to take with me? Flex, you want to go and see? Flex, after this, we're going to go and see Wicked, all right? Okay.
I think after having streaming services,
He's literally hiding under the table.
there's no way that I would actually pay money to go and watch something that I didn't think I might enjoy. I'd much rather, in the privacy of my own home, turn off the show 10 minutes in. and
Well,
never
What about
watch
the
it again.
Lion
Well,
King? That's technically a musical.
Just yeah, but also, didn't like that. Liked it when you're young, and like it's telling you a story. It's a story. It's a nice story, but like as soon as you get to a certain age, I just think. Anyway, let's leave it alone because they're going to be people who love it. So, all right. Historically and culturally speaking, the Gen Zs don't know the sound of music, but even the sound of music. I mean, Maria up on a hill dancing around and the Nazis are coming. I mean, it's like if the Nazis are coming, you're not going to be going, the hills are alive, singing about Edelweiss. Like, do me a favor. It's the Nazis. Get off that fucking hill. Go run! Run, get out
There's
of the...
no time to
There are
sing.
Nazis coming, and you're in charge of, like, I don't know, 27 Von Trapp children.
Dressed
Get
in
off
curtains.
the mountain. I'd like to make a genre called, like, musicals in reality, where, like, you know, terrible shit happens to people, and they can't sing about it. They have to actually deal with, like, terrible shit happening. Like, my
volcano
child
coming.
just died of the what cot disease or something.
The black lung.
And they're not allowed to sing about it. They have to actually deal with it. Yeah, the black lung.
Yeah, I mean, why did we sing Ring a Ring of Roses?
No,
There wasn't time
I don't
for
want that.
songs.
No, and
We need doctors.
If there were witches, okay, let's just be serious for a second. As I understand it, Wicked is all about the witches, and the one is the witch from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
That's all I know, right? That's what Nina told me. If there were actually women with green skin flying around on fucking brooms, and the people would not be going tra la 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 la, tra la 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 la. This is great. They would be pooing in their pants. They would be
hiding
running
away.
for cover. They would be burning the ones they could catch at the stake. It would be a shit show. It would not be fun. You would not have these witches learning to love humanity, or, you know, getting together. I don't know what the Ariana Grande
Holding
witch
space
does.
for, is it? What
Holding
is...
space for each other.
Ah,
We would be, let me tell you what the village would do, and I'd be leading them. We would be pitchfork and, like, faggots of fire, right? Bundles of sticks that we would be ready to burn the witch. You know how long it takes to burn a witch? About 5 hours, and you need 1,000-degree fire.
it's faster if you do it with their broom, because
I
that's...
would. So, what they should be doing is we should be burning the witches. We should be watching this movie thinking this is what would really happen. It's outrageous. What kind of fantasy do these people live in?
Gareth.
I'm not the musical guy. Don't ask me.
No,
Why did you bring that up?
I
Now you got me all
completely
riled up for
understand.
nothing this
I
morning.
completely understand. People were talking about Disney films the other day, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I stopped watching animated stuff when I became an adult.
Yes.
But there are times where you can just let go. When
By the
everything's
way,
going well,
I'll say
some fun and
I'll say something really controversial. I used to be a big Star Wars fan. I used to be a Lord of the Rings fan, all that stuff, you know, because they're great movies. But would I? Oh God, I wouldn't dress up and go to the Star Wars premiere like I did 15 years ago, because it would be terrible and embarrassing and humiliating.
no, but I'm glad
for
that you
everyone,
stopped.
including me. At 47 years old,
That's the thing.
You don't dress up and get excited about Darth Vader. You just that's bad, right? It's like you can't get all upset that the elves in the Lord of the Rings aren't the kind that you thought they should be, because when you read Tolkien in, I don't know, grade 8, and you were a big fan, that you now need to, it has to be your version. Someone's gonna, there comes a point where you have to, as the Bible says, put away childish things.
It happens though naturally. I mean, I used to love dress ups and fancy dress stuff, and now I just feel absolutely stupid doing it. But it was fun when I was younger. You know, I think that shit stopped in my 30s. But I do work with someone who's in his 20s. He's a graphic designer. His whole desk is set up with this amazing paraphernalia from Star Wars. And he's got alien-looking things and fire dragons, and they've all got names, and obsessed with Lego. He came to work one day in a Spider-Man outfit, and we were doing a conference call. He didn't realize he was on camera, but there I am at my desk, and behind me is Spider-Man sitting working at his desk with his junk hanging out.
Oh,
And I'm on a client call. Look, they appreciate, the corporates do like to know that they have a creative agency looking after them. It's like, ooh, can we visit your creative agency office?
Sure.
But to have Spider-Man doing...
Hey, again, he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It'll do.
Peter
forgot
says, I
about-
tried watching Mamma Mia 3 times, but I just couldn't.
Oh yeah, I battled with that one.
Apparently, I don't like musicals either, but I gave Emilia Perez a try. Great movie, says M. So this is a movie that's been nominated for an Oscar, apparently. It's about like a drug lord who becomes a woman. The trance thing.
Oh, okay.
No, not okay. It's a musical. I guarantee you it is a steaming pile of shit. I guarantee you. But Hollywood loves that stuff, right? It's like Hollywood. There's someone right now sitting in their burnt out husk of a house penning a musical.
Too soon.
There's someone in Hollywood right now going, I know what we should do. We should write a musical
About the fires.
about the fires. And there are people who've lost everything who will go and sit there in the crowd while a musical is being recited. I don't know how performed. And they'll be singing along to the fire and the flames licked my house and it all burned down and the carcass of my pet was found. You know, I'm telling you, someone's going to write some shit like that and they'll be singing along. Dummies.
That's why it's called escapism.
Yeah. They escape from reality. I'm a reality guy, okay?
I'm a realist
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Not into this at all. All right, thank you. That's all we got time for in this hour. When we come back, we'll have a whole lot more, and we will not bring up musicals on the show
No, it's
again.
done. It's done.
Flex, we don't want to talk about it ever again. Okay? Once this wicked thing is done, we move on. I was ready to move on long before.
I don't have any issues with people sleeping around. If you're wanting a strong relationship, it can't be started on the basis of we meet today, tomorrow we're sleeping together.
It used to be you'd go out somewhere social, you'd meet someone, you'd exchange numbers, and then you'd almost go on a series of dates before you even thought about sleeping together or taking things to the next step. This was in the age of models. That age is dead. Because now it's very fast. I can go on Tinder and I can find 2 things real quick because I'm cute. I can go out to the club and I can package 1 table there because they're drinking Savannah's. You check what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're within my budget, you know? PH can go, he can operate because it's a champagne table. Yeah, bo? It depends on the man.
500. Where you at with that?
I've just, you know, I've never understood it, but shout out to the milk.
Indy 500, 25th of May. Now, I'm bringing this up because this is actually, they say this is the single biggest sporting event, motorsport event of the year. Check out the size of that trophy, okay? That's the Borg Warner Trophy, I think it's called. Borg Warner Trophy. What do you think that trophy's value is?
Just break it down for me. I have no idea.
That trophy is valued at $3 million, okay? It stands...
It looks like that.
It looks like... So, if you win, your face goes on the trophy. Actually, they put your face on it.
Yeah,
This thing is so cool. The Borg Warner Trophy is so ginormous. This has been going since 1911, the Indy 500.
Oh, wow. The Wicked musical looks amazing. Yeah, that's about right. Jesus. Okay, enough about that. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Leigh-Ann has some useful and valuable information that will help you start your year on the right foot. And that includes taking maximum advantage of public holidays. You know, I love people being productive and I love us all doing as much as we can. But I also like it when the system hands you a gift
Yes.
and you're able to use it as best you can. And who doesn't like an extra bit of holiday here and there? So we've obviously got all these holidays at the beginning of the year. Then they kind of peter out in the middle. And then at the end, we've obviously got Christmas and New Year and all that stuff. But I mean, Easter's coming. No one ever knows where Easter is. I don't.
No one
It's
ever
like-
knows.
It's random,
If
right?
it doesn't have a set date, then
I
we're
mean,
usually in trouble.
Easter, Pesach.
Yeah, it's, stuff to do with the moon.
Nobody knows.
I don't know.
Nobody knows. It's just
Just give me a solid date.
right. So where is it all happening, and what do we need to do?
So I believe that we can play something. I was having a hard time realizing what the rules are of what we can and can't play. So it's always
I
sticky, you know.
Mm.
But looking at Happy Traveler ZA, she's put together a great little plan. So after Human Rights Day is our next holiday. And the thing is,
That's in March, right?
the reason why we're already dreaming about it is because when you get back to work for the first few days, it's really tough.
It is tough.
It's hard.
You'll get
and it's
into it
tiring.
by February. You'll be like, it's not so bad. And February's a short month.
Short month.
So, you know, even if you, and by the way, if you hate your job so much, leave.
Yeah, there's
Get
that.
another job. Do something else. You must not be unhappy. Don't punish yourself.
Mm.
And it's the beginning of the year. It's a good time if you want to change.
You might love your
things up.
job, but you know it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard work. You're going to be stressed. So 21st to 23rd of March is a long weekend, so you don't need leave. That's the Human Rights Day weekend.
Okay.
And then I don't know, are we playing something for this? Okay,
This
awesome.
is how you're going to maximize your leave as a South African in 2025. The first public holiday of the year is Human Rights Day, which is Friday, the 21st of March. So you don't need to
Works.
take any days off. You just get an automatic 3-day long weekend. Next up, we have an absolute triple whammy of Easter, Freedom Day, and Workers' Day, which all fall in an amazing row over the end of April and the beginning of May, which means that you can get 17 days of holiday by only taking 7 days of leave. This is how it's going to work. So Friday, the 18th of April is Good Friday. Then you go the weekend, and Monday, the 21st, is Easter Monday. Then you can take the next week off. So Tuesday to Friday, 22nd to the 25th of April. Then you got another weekend. And then Monday, the 28th of April, is Freedom Day observed, because Freedom Day would be Sunday, the 27th. Then you can take off another 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, the 30th. 29th and 30th of April before you get Thursday, the 1st of May, which is Workers' Day. You then just have to take that Friday off to seal the deal of a full 17-day holiday with only 7 days of leave. Then we have another long weekend in June for the 16th of June, Youth Day, which is a Monday. You don't need to take any leave. You'll just get a 3-day long weekend. Unfortunately, Women's Day this year does not fall on a nice day, so we don't get a long weekend for Women's Day. Heritage Day, the 24th of September, falls on a Wednesday, which means you can either take the Monday, Tuesday off to make it an extra long weekend, or a Thursday, Friday off and to make another long weekend, or you can take all 4 days off and have a 9-day holiday.
Stop.
That's
Stop.
the end anyway.
You know, can I tell you what? That's enough. This woman is going to ruin our economy. I apologize for having played that. It took me 2 seconds to realize I was doing a terrible thing.
Well, the thing is, if
Like now everyone's
everyone's
going to be doing it. Listen, that's half of April. 17 days, she says you can get there.
But
I only
isn't
had
it-
I only had 10 days in December.
Wouldn't it be a better idea if everyone did that at the same time instead of this on off of working and not working when these public holidays are actually disrupting your work?
And the hell of it if you have to pay people and you're actually in charge and you have to run the business and these ones are here, but these ones are not.
No, but imagine if
What are you
the
gonna
whole
do?
country was doing it like a festive holiday.
Yeah. So that's half of April.
Because there's nothing worse than having the week broken up by
All right.
public
Well,
holidays.
I'm going to ban that video from being shown in our office.
Oh, I see. That's where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Right.
No one will do anything. So people will be shut down for like 17 days.
But if the whole country was doing it?
We'd be shut down for 17 days. It's not good, okay? This is really bad.
All right, so we'll do the stop-start thing.
Oh, I've always said this. I say it every year. We've got 12 public holidays in the year. Just bolt on a public holiday to every last weekend of the month. People get one long weekend every month, and we move on.
That's the line of thinking I'm going on,
Yeah,
is to clump things together.
right. And honestly, what we should do, if a public holiday falls on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, they just move it to the nearest weekend.
Mm.
Really, it's so dumb to have a public holiday Wednesday, and then people
That's it.
they kind of there, but they're not there the 2 days and the 2 days.
Some people have taken the first half off, some
No,
the
guys,
second
come on.
half.
You know, COVID showed us how lazy people actually can be. It didn't work.
Mm.
We've got to get a better system. But there it is, Leigh-Ann helping us out. If you want to skive off, be a lazy son of a bitch, then thanks, Leigh-Ann.
It's paid leave. It's owed leave.
It's not owed. I think we should be forced to work. Everyone should be forced to work every day.
Oh, where's Dr. Hanan when we need him?
Aren't you glad I'm not the government? Aren't you glad?
To be fair, in some cases, I'd prefer it.
All right, you forget about all those people that don't get those holidays. The shop workers, Dr. Robin. It's because you're a doctor. Listen, you're working. I'm on your side. Okay, so don't have a go at me. Talk to Leigh-Ann and that chick in the video. For freelancers like me, we don't make money since everyone's on leave. Exactly, Viasan. This is the problem.
I hear you.
Congo Chris says, don't listen to that lady. July is strike season and the whole country will be forced to shut down. Save your leave for December. Oh, bank holiday Monday. You have bank holiday Monday. That's what they have in the UK. Yes. I think Leigh-Ann should pay my staff on public holidays. You see, they're all blaming you now. If you go away when there's a public holiday, so does everyone else. No thanks. Work for yourself and go away when everyone is working. Yeah, I mean, try to figure it out. I'm not saying you shouldn't have any holidays or that it isn't important for us to have public holidays. I think it's great.
I like working when no one else is working, because then you get a solid block of work time without interruptions. But that's also an ADHD thing. The distractions are too much for me. I want a full block of working time.
All right. There we go. We've given you the info. Now go.
We have options.
Do what you want with it. Damage as much as you need to. Destroy as much as you want. We're not going to
ruin the economy.
Ruin the economy, but be it on your own head. Okay? We take no responsibility. So apparently Leigh-Ann has a story for us about someone who was stuck in Britain's highest pub.
Not someone. A bunch of people.
Okay.
They're currently still stuck there. Well, last time I looked yesterday.
Where is Britain's highest pub, for starters?
It's at the top of Britain.
What?
It's at the highest point of Britain.
What? What is it?
And it's not the first time it's happened.
High up on a mountain in Wales.
I can check exactly where it is.
But I thought you'd know this stuff. I mean, your story is about the highest pub, so I thought.
Well, we have a video explaining everything.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Well, that's what I meant.
Okay, here we go.
More than 20 people have been snowed in at Britain's highest pub for 3 days. 23 people, 6 members of staff and a dog are stuck at this Yorkshire pub, the Tan Hill Inn. According to the manager, guests have enjoyed a movie day and a big party where they sang, ate and drank a lot of alcohol. It's not the first time something like this has happened. Back in 2021, more than 60 guests were stuck at the pub after going to watch an Oasis tribute band.
Oh, wow.
Is it something you would like to? Would you like to be stuck there?
No.
I mean, it had your favorite things: singing, dancing.
Yeah, musicals. Yeah, we're back to that. No, they had a dress-up bear, right? Like a guy in a bear
mascot
costume. And the previous year, there was an Oasis tribute band. Can you imagine how much fun that was?
Yeah.
Look, if you're gonna be stuck
somewhere, but like not horribly, not like famine.
We don't know about being snowed in this country. It doesn't happen.
We know a bit
often.
about being cut off by floods.
Being cut off by floods or whatever else. Then it's horrible. Nobody wants that to happen. That's why it's called stuck. Otherwise, I'll be back in a while, and then you can go and come back. But if you're actually going to be stuck, I mean, there are ways it could be quite fun. Like if you've got enough supplies, for starters.
100%.
Okay, so if you've got food, you've got alcohol, you've got whatever you need, and nobody's going to run out. Like if someone needs the medicine that they're on, and
everyone's happy and sorted.
Right, so we've got enough stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Then we're good. Second of all, there's enough space for everybody, so you're not all. I mean, you could probably find sleeping quarters for everyone, and that's cool if there's enough space. If it's very, very cold, I think that's better than if it's very, very hot. being stuck.
Unless you didn't have. Okay, so we've got resources. We have
So
a fire.
You have a fire and all that stuff. I think it could be quite cozy and kind
Yeah.
of fun. And like, remember that time we were stuck and it hadn't stopped raining for 8 days or whatever? Sure.
I mean, if you think about it, there are people who've been stuck at luxury resorts on islands
Yeah,
due to whether
sure.
they're safe, but then they take all activities indoors. Activities, don't like that word. But being stuck at a luxury resort.
And the most important thing is that you're actually stuck with people you really like your really good friends, maybe family.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, family, you know. Some people love their families. Some people really don't. So let's just say people you really like. Then if you're stuck, cool. But these guys have been stuck there in this highest pub.
For 3 days.
Snowed in. And
in Yorkshire.
I mean, for Yorkshire people, this is like heaven.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy. I don't have to go anywhere.
So many
All I have to do is drink.
plates of bangers and mash.
Yeah, I mean, they must be in their element, these peasants. Give us some. Can we have some bread and drippings for us, please, our mother?
Oh, and a curry. They're going to be eating a lot of curry.
Yeah. Play another Oasis track. You know, no, they'll love it. I don't feel sorry for these people.
No, not at all. They look very happy.
Yeah. And they've probably got internet, so they're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what's the difference between them lying in their own bed at home, scrolling TikTok,
and getting a beer out the fridge
instead
of just getting
right? What's the
a
difference
fresh one
between that
poured
and
in the morning?
Exactly, by the inn manager or what the barman it's in.
Yeah, they're definitely having fun.
It's okay. They'll be fine. So no sympathy from me. But I think about who I would want to be stuck somewhere with. And there are very few people who I'd, you know, because you don't always get to choose. Like you're at this thing and then the Oasis tribute band. You have to be with them the whole time.
Yeah, there's something to, especially a pub. You're not expecting to stay there.
No.
So you might be with, maybe you were on a first date.
Oh,
that's awkward.
That would be very, very
Like
tough.
you're only expecting to be there for a few hours. You haven't packed anything.
So a man lost a fight to search for a lost 14 billion rand Bitcoin wallet. I hear these stories about people who have, you know, a USB or an old hard drive that their Bitcoin is stored on. And then, you know, their wife or girlfriend throws away the old computer. And they're like, what have you done?
Or a fire.
Or a fire, whatever. Yeah, I mean, so James Hulls is a UK man who was apparently, he was with this girl. She dumped his Bitcoin hard drive, which is worth 598 million pounds. Yeah. And he had to sue a council to recover the device from a landfill, and it was thrown out of court. The judge found no reasonable grounds for the claim. It likely wouldn't succeed at a full trial. He's an early Bitcoin miner. He had attempted to engage with the Newport City Council extensively over the past 12 years.
Cool.
I mean, 598 million pounds.
But you do think he never had that money to start with, right?
No. But that's what it's worth. If I told you there was a treasure worth 598 million pounds in a landfill, you'd go there with your garden tools and you'd start. I know you would. I would.
Yeah, I'd take digging dogs.
Definitely. And they won't let him. That's good.
Oh, that's got to be so frustrating.
Imagine. And now, obviously, the other problem is that the whole time he's probably thinking, well, I'm talking about this. People know where the landfill is. There are going to be other people who will go and do it.
But like the judge said, it wouldn't come to anything.
No, what is the judge? Judge doesn't know what Bitcoin is. The judge is probably judge is probably 89 years old, and is like, no, you're not going to go and dig around in the rubbish tip. Sorry,
Or a piece of plastic.
No, you can't have that for what? For an old computer? No, you're not going to be allowed to do that, young man. Young man. And so the poor guy's losing 598 million pounds in Bitcoin.
And sorry, it was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's still his girlfriend.
Definitely not. He probably wants to kill her with his hands. This is what I mean. Is like people don't know. I was talking to someone over the holidays who's also like big into Bitcoin, and he was saying to me that there are stories about guys who've been like they've been walking through an airport and they've got their little hard drive thing and they drop it somewhere by mistake.
And
is
is there no virtual proof?
But you see, if you lost your wallet or if you lost your phone, and someone would pick it up and they'd give it to you, and sometimes they have a key that goes with the hard drive, so it's no use to someone who doesn't have that key.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like
a phone
there's 12 or 13 words that are in a certain sequence that you have to unlock in order to get the Bitcoin and to be able to do anything with it, to trade
So
with
it hasn't been stolen. It's not going to be stolen, but it's just lost.
It's lost forever. He can never get it back. But you know, I hear these stories and it gives me sleepless nights thinking about these people who've lost all this. That's a huge amount of money. £500 million. He'd be one of the richest people in Britain.
Shit.
And he was doing it for years, this poor guy.
And invested his own money.
Oh, I feel so sorry for him. I really do. I think that's so horrible.
No, it's a tragedy.
And I'm sure
in tragedy.
I'm sure in California now with all these fires, there are going to be people who are losing millions in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to run out of their house with an old computer, one of those tower ones that you know, these guys were probably storing that on because they were doing it back in 2008. I feel terrible. Oh, it's just so depressing. All right. Let us talk now to Bhelekazi Mabandla, who is online. She's going to join us. She's the head of Royal Diplomatic Services for the Mabandla Royal Family. And we're going to find out a little bit about that. It's always interesting to know how these things work. She's also a leader and diplomat from the family. She's also a champion for rural development. And she talks a lot about partnerships, sustainable initiatives. She's passionate about agriculture, diplomacy, cultural preservation, and works to blend tradition with modern innovation for community empowerment. Let us talk to her now. Is she on the line? Oh. Okay. Well. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Hey, how are you, Bhelekazi?
Hi, morning. How are you?
Very good. Nice to see you, and thank you for joining us. And I appreciate you being up early on a Monday to do this with us.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm so honored.
Well, I mean, it's listen, never bad to talk to a princess. So tell us about the Jamangile Mabandla family and what, like, where are you guys? Like, to give us some context.
So we are based in the Eastern Cape, and we're a community of about, you're looking at about 8,000 people on a 20,000 square meter land. We've been there around about 150 years, so we're quite old.
Not bad.
Our history goes back to like the smaller tribes that ran away from Shaka Zulu, and then we migrated towards the Eastern Cape.
Okay, so are you guys sort of the part of the greater Xhosa kind of diaspora? Is that kind of where you fit?
Apparently, we don't qualify to be Xhosas.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's probably a good thing considering who their king is, because I don't know if you'd want him as a king.
Gareth, don't be naughty.
All right. So how does your royal family work? I mean, how do you guys run things? How would people who've never ever heard of your particular family understand the way things operate and who does what and how does the land get run? And you know, we have a lot of people who talk with very little knowledge about how rural affairs in South Africa are managed, and also about how traditional affairs are managed. So how does it actually work on the ground?
So post-COVID, so during COVID, we were looking at how, as you're saying, how traditional communities are ran in South Africa. So the younger generation we didn't even have a website. So we looked at it and we said, how do we modernize traditional leadership in South Africa? Because most of them are dependent on government. So traditional leaders get a stipend from government, right? And we've seen for the longest time that because of this, a lot of traditional communities, they're sitting on land, but they're poor because, there's like a dependent mentality on government and waiting for government to come to do things.
Right.
So we said, okay, fine. We didn't even have a website, and we looked at Europe. We looked at Europe. We looked at the Zulu monarchy, and we looked at other African royalties in Africa. And we started off with a website. So we launched a website. I think that was during COVID. And we then decided that we will have to connect our community with direct foreign investments instead of going through government. So that was the idea.
It's amazing to me that there are these initiatives going on and we hear so little about them. I mean, the only stuff that we seem to hear about traditional affairs and tribal leaders and royal leaders in South Africa is when there's bad news. And there's always something for people to complain about. I mean, the taxpayer, there's an argument of like, why should the taxpayer have to foot the bill for these traditional leaders? I see lots of people who are very controversial, who are well known. I see Penwell asking, why are we funding these traditional leaders? We shouldn't have to pay for them. I've seen lots of other people on podcasts and in the news complaining about it. But the reality is that obviously these communities, the only link that they have to government is that kind of thing, and it's funding and all of this stuff. You have controversially done some things that most people in traditional leadership are not interested in doing. You're looking internationally, you're looking at direct foreign investment in your land to do things that other people are not. You also visited Orania on a diplomatic visit. Did that cause a lot of noise for you?
Oh my word, you do not know. Sure. I was quite surprised by that. South Africa is so race obsessed.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, when I went to Orania, that caused a lot of havoc. I don't want to ever experience that, but let me tell you, it prepared me because we actually ventured out. We decided to partner with AfriForum to say, how do we use our land and how do we teach the communities to use what they have? And instead of that being positive, oh my word, people are so negative. When I say people, I mean the politics of South Africa. A lot of people, I get called names that I'm a coconut, I'm a sellout. I don't know what I'm selling out. Taking land back to the Boers. I mean, there's legislation about this thing. So it's like it's I don't understand how sometimes people think. And it is so funny that when we were moving with these projects, the very people who were like against us publicly would secretly call us to say, can you please connect us to AfriForum? So people, I'm telling you, people are not honest out there. Yeah. So
yeah.
Even with my trip to Orania, oh my word, I went to Orania twice. First, I went, it was like a diplomatic visit with another traditional leader just to learn what they were doing. And the second time I went for a pass-off, and it was amazing. It's the most amazing community with amazing people. There's a lot to learn from them.
Yeah, and I suppose if you see it as your job to connect people up and to find ways of working together, then that's a different mindset to people who are looking for reasons to create noise and controversy and make people unhappy. I mean, Colonel Chris Wyatt, who's been on the show a couple of times, says here, no, South Africa is not race obsessed. He says social media trolls, the media and politicians are obsessed with race. It is a cudgel they use to divide and conquer. Most South Africans don't care. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree. In fact, I'll tell you a story. Orania has a partnership with a community right in the Eastern Cape, and I think it goes back to like 11 years. And you've never heard the story on the media.
Yeah.
They actually even they have a house that was built by the community, rural in Keskamahuk, rural community, deep rural Eastern Cape. And these Oranians come, they sleep in the village. they teach the people how to use citrus fruit, how to make jam and so on. And you won't find this partnership in the media. So I totally agree. People on the ground they want unity. People on the ground want to work together.
Well, you also aren't afraid to say things like, for example, that you support Donald Trump, which is not everybody's favorite thing to hear. And when you say that, who do you get most of the pushback from?
I've always been a Donald Trump supporter, even for the first term. Listen, I think there's this notion in South Africa that if you're a Black South African, you're supposed to think a certain way. You get boxed that you should be this or not that. So I think because already I don't fit in any box, so I kind of fit in to support a Donald Trump.
Yeah, and people will find all kinds of reasons to label you so that they don't have to deal with you. And that's what I think is going on most of the time. So what do people call you? Do they call you Princess? Is there a way that we have to address you? Should we go Your Royal Highness? I mean, are South Africans even able to deal with all of this stuff? Because I don't think we know what the rules are.
No, I'm just Bells. People call me Bells. And that's what I stick to.
Okay, so I didn't screw this up at the start of the interview by going Bhelekazi. That was fine. I didn't have to go like, oh, Your Royal Highness, and bow and scrape or any of that stuff.
No, thank you.
No, well, what? I think Meghan Markle's ruined that for all princesses.
She has, absolutely, she has.
I can't believe, by the way, on a totally different line of thought, I can't believe she's put together this show about like entertaining people and food and how to be like a great
lifestyle
type show for Netflix, because that they obviously Netflix have paid her and Harry so much money that they now have to recoup that somehow. So they've got her doing this show, and nobody wants to watch it. And all the reviews are terrible. And the trailer, which went out, I think 2 weeks ago, it's just, there's not one positive comment the whole way down.
Oh, dear.
People really don't like her.
Yeah, maybe they messed up.
Yeah, maybe. So, Bhelekazi, when you are involved in the diplomatic services for the family, because you guys are a royal family and you have a specific piece of land, but you don't really have sovereignty, you fall under the government of South Africa, how much room do you have to operate as a sovereign entity? How much representation can you actually give yourself in the diplomatic world, and how much do you have to do with the South African government?
So, Gareth, there is legislation that allows you to actually transfer land so that you can actually own it and have a title deed. And I think because, and I say this with the utmost respect, because a lot of traditional leaders are not educated.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find that maybe they are familiar or not familiar, but they do not know how to use this legislation. And this is where AfriForum comes in. They're very, very good at this. So a lot of traditional communities, though they own the land, but the title deed is still with government. And it then becomes like a stumbling block when it comes to foreign investment, or, because you've got to have something to say this land belongs to us. And this is where I think my passion comes in, because it's really key when it comes to rural development. And I would say I think it's on purpose, because then if communities become self-sufficient, then it means government is losing votes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and they don't want that. They want you to be enthralled to them, because that's how government maintains a hold on people. They obviously, they can say, well, you see, you can't survive without us, so we have to keep controlling things.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you look at Eastern Cape, we're mostly rural, we're partly rural. So rural Eastern Cape has a lot of votes for the governing party. So yeah, absolutely.
Tell me how it works. Were you raised there? Did you go to school nearby? Like, tell us a bit about your story.
So I went to Kingswood College, which is in Grahamstown, now Makanda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's like a boarding school. It's like a private, or you call it independent school in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I spent my high school, and now I'm a mom. Also, my daughter went to DSG, which is also still it's actually a school in Grahamstown. So I have a lot of relationship as an old girl and as a parent with the Grahamstown schools. So that's also my passion lies there, with education. So that's me, hey.
And what sort of things do you have to do? Ceremonies and traditions that you guys carry out in your family? What kinds of stuff? What sort of responsibilities do you have there?
So as a younger generation, we actually kind of came up and we said we have to undo all the other traditions that were there before us, and so we don't have any ceremonies that we do. The only thing that we do is when we have a coronation, which we had about 2 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it's our different duties that we have. And my duty is to promote the royal family and the community to business, to international investors, and so on.
So someone says here that one of their clients introduced herself as Her Royal Highness the Princess blah, blah, blah. And I thought she was taking the piss. How many royal families are there in South Africa? Do you know?
Oh, my word. Not just South Africa. I mean, in the Eastern Cape.
Oh, there are lots.
There's a lot. Yeah. Listen, people, one thing when people don't understand, titles mean nothing. They absolutely mean nothing. And it's about standing up for our communities and being leaders, to serve. We have to serve first.
Yeah, I mean, here's Chris Wyatt again saying, don't get me started on land tenure locked up by the ANC in RDP properties, impoverishing South Africans, breeding dependency on the state. We obviously have so many people in this country who are just waiting for someone to come and save them, whether it's your family in your area, whether it's the government in some other part of the country, whether it's some department, some NGO. One of the things that I like about you, and I've seen some of your posts because I think we are connected on social media. I've seen you standing up for rural communities, but saying they should stand for themselves. I mean, we need people to be able to take responsibility, not rely on anyone else. Make their land productive, do what they can to create employment in their areas. And you don't need a whole lot to make a difference. You just have to decide to do it, right?
Absolutely. And I think I've proven this. I mean, our first direct partnership was with the Netherlands. And this was outside government, to a point where the government of the Netherlands actually invited me to their country to go and see what they're doing. And so these things are very, you are able to do this. You are able to do this. And I just want to say this, and I know perhaps it's going to sound controversial. And when I look at South Africa, and I hope that people really, this is out of respect for the Black communities, but we need to get out of this victim mentality. As long as you think you're a victim, you will not be able to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I've been blowing that horn for years. So who are the most successful? It's a question that Azalea asks. Who are the most successful traditional communities and what are they doing right? Let's focus on some of the things that are actually working in that world.
Of course, no community is perfect, but I think the Royal Bafokeng, they're quite successful because, they're self-sufficient, You've got to educate your people. You've got to use what you have, and that's it. Use what you have, and royal communities have land. We could do so much. In the Eastern Cape could be the Texas of South Africa.
So the guy who asked about the Her Royal Highness he was introduced to, he says, must I call her by her title and give her what she wants, or do I just move on with my life?
Oh, I would say he must move on with his life.
Okay, very good. I like that. And yes, the Royal Bafokeng, mostly well run, but platinum does not hurt, though. I mean, it's nice for them that they've got all those platinum mines, right? That does help.
Listen, Gareth, whatever you have, I believe we've all been blessed with different minerals, you know. Just because there's no platinum, let's say in the Eastern Cape or anywhere else, does not mean that we cannot have the same riches. In fact, we've not even test your land. There's so much, you never know. There's so much to do. It's all about being creative. It's all about being creative and having good leadership.
What about the people who justifiably have an issue with traditional leaders because they say these trusts, these institutions that are set up to manage the land, they don't actually empower the people. They just make the chief or the king rich, and everybody else suffers. And they never actually own anything because they live on this trust land. Like the Zulu royal family, for example, comes under a lot of criticism for that. Do you have anything to say about that?
I think we have a lot to learn. You know, I'm not saying the Ngonyama Trust is perfect, but I understand it. I understand them then, but of course you always have to update. And like for instance, in our situation, you are able to, like, individuals are able to have their own title deeds. It's not managed. Sorry, it's not managed on behalf of the communities. So individuals, we have people who have individual farms on the land, and they have their own title deeds, and that is very important. Property rights are very important.
Well, I'm very happy to talk to you this morning, and it's interesting to hear your point of view on all of these things. What are your plans for 2025? What are you up to for the rest of this year?
To be honest, I'm actually thinking of returning to politics. So I've been speaking to Ms. Helen Zille.
Oh, and what does Helen have to say?
All I can say, watch the space.
All right. Well, there we go. I mean, they could do with a princess. Let's see. I don't like any of these political parties. I'll be honest with you. But there we go. I'm very, very excited to see what you get up to, and thank you very much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely week.
Thank you, Bhelekazi. Nice to see you. There we go, Leigh-Ann. No pressure on you, but now you've had a princess on the show. What are you going to do?
I thought I might be underdressed, but she's so down to earth.
She's lovely.
And it's just amazing to see progression in the traditional world, because those two things are opposites.
Yeah, of course. And she said, like, they've abandoned a whole lot of cultural practices that they don't think fit in with the modern world anymore. And she said that the young generation in that family are looking to the future. They're not hankering for the past and trying to hold on to things that are no longer valid.
Yeah.
That's good.
You really do associate traditional communities with being staid and never wanting to progress, but just injecting education and thinking way out of the box with her going to Oranje and seeking help from AfriForum. It's just really admirable.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there are people partnering and getting stuff done without politics. I mean, I'm nervous about her going into politics, but we'll see. You know, people must do what they got to do. And at
how
least,
you feel about politics, yeah.
And she wants to make a contribution, which is great. Similar to the Transkei, Patrick says, you can't even own the land, but you get leases off the headman, but the land can be taken anytime. So that's a problem. Because, you know, if people don't have, like, security, how can you expect them to build a business, to farm the land, to look after their house?
Think future-wise, to think forward.
Correct. So we'll have to see what happens there. And lots of people complaining about the DA, but I don't want us to get into complaining about. Listen, can we do? Let's all just agree to do something this year. Let's not let government into places in our lives where it doesn't belong, because most of your life you're not going to be dealing with them. There are certain things you have to do. You have to pay your taxes. You have
to work for money.
You have to work for money. You have to, occasionally interact with them when you need a new passport or whatever else. But don't bring them into the rest of your life.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. I went to get a new passport
Oh, how was that experience?
a week ago.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I think it took me 3 hours. It was a 3-hour long thing.
Ordeal.
Yeah. 3 hours of moving from one chair to the next or not
Ugh.
having chairs and standing.
Ugh.
Being in quite a small room with 200 people in there or 300 people, and you spend 3 hours together. But what was amazing, I was the person, you make friends with the people around you and you go through this shared experience. And the woman next to me, very, very well-to-do Black family. You could see the whole family looked immaculate, and you can see she runs a very big bill wherever she goes for her hair and nails. I then subsequently learned what car she drove because they called out to say, would the person with this car come to the parking lot? There's been an incident.
Uh-oh.
And yes, there was quite a big incident. Somebody had driven into her, and she was this other driver was about to drive off, but the security guard managed to stop her, called this victim from inside. And obviously, I'm stuck there. I can't do anything. She came back and she said, what a terrible experience I've just had with such a racist woman.
Oh, really?
So the woman whose car had been hit had to park skew because of a previous person who was there.
Right.
That person who parked skew had left. And so this white woman had driven up thinking this woman has parked skew. Apparently, this woman said, I will not apologize for driving into you. In fact, I quite enjoyed it because of the way that you parked, and then went into a racist rant. But
oh wow, I'm kind of relieved for all the people who are looking for racism that there's some actual racism going on. Okay, all right.
And yeah, there were white people overhearing the story, standing in the queue, and we were appalled that had happened.
Sounds like an adventure. You getting your passport sounds like fun.
Gareth, I can't do these things normally. Something always has to happen. My brother actually said, okay, so what happened?
So then, was it resolved?
Yes, well, she was called
I can't believe that other woman wanted to drive away.
And that she enjoyed driving into her.
That's just such a shit thing to say. Wow.
But the thing is, emotions run high at these things. You are not in the best of moods.
No.
You've got to actually just calm the fuck down, Margaret.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone needs to calm down.
Yeah.
But what was amazing for me is that you're stuck in this room with the poorest of the poor, the richest of the rich, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, what status you have. You all have to sit in this queue in a seat that's been warmed by someone before you, next to people who might smell, next to screaming children, and you have to follow the rules. And it's amazing to see people who don't like following the rules having to do it there. Otherwise, what are you going to do?
Did you get it?
It's very strange. I walked out with an ID card instead of a passport. And I have to go back for the passport on the 17th. Very confusing situation.
So you didn't get what you wanted, but you got something.
Got something.
Wow. Unbelievable. I don't even know what to make of that. All right, so we've got shows on Wednesday and Friday, but we'll be doing them I'm going to be in Cape Town. We've got a big series of meetings I've got to go there for.
Oh, nice.
And then back here again on Monday, but we'll do live shows Wednesday and Friday. Don't miss them. And I think Gord is joining us on Wednesday, right? Okay, possibly Gord Laws. That's going to be very exciting. So stick around for that and a whole lot more. And let us know if you have any comments, any ideas, any suggestions for 2025. We are ready to hear them. Like I said the other day, get those ideas in while I'm still listening.
While you still care.
Like at some point in April where everybody's going to take 17 days off in a row, I'm just going to stop listening. It's unbelievable. In case you missed it, Leigh-Ann showed us a cheat code for April. You basically get half the month off.
You can get 17 days off for putting in 7 days of leave.
Buenas. Very nice. Okay, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Be good. Cheers.
Stay tuned because Stairway to Stardom is next with Frank Massey.
on the stairway to stardom. You'll see tomorrow starts today on the stairway to stardom. We're here to brighten up your day. We've got singers and dancers and actors performing for you. But there's more, so much more, and it's all right here for you. On the stairway to stardom, we'll entertain with talent and style. On the stairway to stardom, we've got the others.